So Plymouth, Massachusetts was founded in 1620. It was founded by English settlers known as the Separatists. They fled England to establish a utopian community where they could practice their religion freely. While on board the Mayflower, they established the rules of governing the new colony. This is known as the Mayflower Compact. That beautiful light over the harbor. So the native people, known as the Wampanoag, lived in the area long before Europeans arrived by approximately 10,000 years. Wampanoag means people of the first light. Their leader was Massasoit, who is today featured on the Massachusetts state flag. Okay, so we're coming upon the William Bradford statue, which is right here. He was a signatory to the Mayflower Compact and went on to serve as the governor of the Plymouth colony intermittently for about 30 years between 1621 and 1657. So Plymouth gets credit for being the inspiration for the national holiday Thanksgiving. So the first Thanksgiving arguably happened in Plymouth in 1621. It most likely happened in September or October after the harvest. Of course, it wasn't originally called Thanksgiving. There were approximately 53 pilgrims and 90 native people at the feast. The meal probably consisted of deer, corn, shellfish, and roasted meat. There is a good chance that they did not have turkey. And some people argue that the first Thanksgiving actually would have occurred in St. Augustine, Florida in 1565. So you can see the sunrise. So we're coming upon Plymouth Rock. Although no historical evidence exists to confirm that Plymouth Rock is a spot where the Pilgrims landed in the New World, the boulder was identified as a spot in 1741. Which was 121 years after the arrival of the Mayflower, and we'll look down at it. And here it is. There is the famous rock. For a few years, starting in 1668, the holiday was celebrated on November 25th. And actually, November 25th, 1668 was a Sunday on the Gregorian calendar. But that lasted only a few years. In 1789, George Washington decreed Thursday, November 26th as a day of public Thanksgiving. However, the date moved around in the following years. In 1863, Abraham Lincoln proclaimed a national day of Thanksgiving to be celebrated on Thursday, November 26th. The holiday was annually proclaimed by every president thereafter, and the date was almost always the last Thursday of November. Congress passed a law on December 26, 1941, that all Americans would celebrate a unified Thanksgiving on the fourth Thursday of November every year. So now it's actually the fourth Thursday, not the last Thursday. In fact, this year I believe Thanksgiving is on November 23rd, even though there is another Thursday on November 30th. And we're coming up on the Mayflower II Replica ship, which arrived on June 13, 1957. More than 30 million people can trace their ancestry to the crew of the passengers of the Mayflower. The original Mayflower made its initial depart from Southampton, England on August 15, 1620. Today, this ship, the Mayflower II, is a floating classroom and working vessel. It is now in the National Register of Historic Places. Okay, so I'm back across the street from the Plymouth Rock monument. We're gonna head up here. And you get a great view from up here. Take a turn around. It's gorgeous. So we're going to be coming up upon the Massasoit Statue. And you can see this is the National Day of Mourning plaque, as the native people see Thanksgiving as sort of a day of mourning for many obvious reasons. And over here, I believe, is the first burying ground in Plymouth for the passengers of the Mayflower. It's a little bright in the background. I'll close up so it can adjust. Try to keep my shadow out. It's kind of hard at this angle. Maybe I come over here. Okay, you can see I'm right next to Brewster Gardens on Leyden Street. And as you can see by this informational board here, the Leyden Street was originally known to the first settlers as First Street, Great Street, or Broad Street. It's where the Pilgrims began building their houses in the winter of 1620 to 21, and has been the heart of the town ever since, extending from the harbor at its eastern end. As you can see, there's the harbor down there, to Burial Hill on the west, and including Town Square. Leyden Street is the oldest continuously occupied street in British North America. And it goes there. Okay, so I'm still on Leyden Street. And this is the first house built by the Pilgrims. And there is a plaque here. This says, "This tablet is erected by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to mark the site of the first house built by the Pilgrims in that house on the 27th of February 1621, new style." And I believe all these homes were basically the first site of the Pilgrims' homes. There's a 1749 Courthouse Museum. And this is Burial Hill. And then here's the Mayflower Meeting House, the first church in Plymouth. This beautiful old building. So the mission of the General Society of Mayflower Descendants is to educate the world about the Mayflower story and its influence on democracy and the founding of America. The Church of Scrooby Leyden. Quite a view from up here. So we're coming upon the first point of interest, which is the Pilgrim's maiden statue. And here it is. Located in Brewster Gardens is a bronze statue of the Pilgrims maiden by Henry Hudson Kitson in 1922. It is a stainless steel sculpture honoring Plymouth's immigrant settlers from 1700 to 2000. The Pilgrim maiden is dedicated to the intrepid English women whose courage and devotion brought a new nation into being. Actually, I'm going to go this way. You can see with the cold temps there's a little bit of frost this morning. So the next sculpture is going to be the Plymouth Immigrant Memorial designed by Barney Zeitz. It serves as a tribute to the men and women. You can see it's over here. The men and women who were America's first immigrants. He deliberately designed the 6 faces on the monument to reflect the different backgrounds of people who have immigrated to the United States. There it is. An eagle. So if you're wondering, we're in Brewster Gardens. which was named after William Brewster, who came over on the Mayflower. William Brewster served as a leader instrumental in establishing Plymouth Colony's government and church services.